Good evening, everybody. I hope your Saturday has been lovely. And if you've been filling it with plenty of our Adamant Cup tournament action, well, then the perfect thing to end your day is more Adamant Cup tournament action. As we have JohnBirckhead and JBrunTR facing off in the Artemis Bow group. Brought to you tonight with Leggy Starscream taking care of the restream and Plumeria Knight on the tracking. I'm Huffin, your erstwhile guiding way for this evening, joined in the booth by Twisted Flax. Flax, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty nicely. As we see our runners getting sorted out, we see our objectives for this match. As always, nice batch of quests. How are you feeling about this setup, Flax?
Well, let's take a look. We've got to complete the Giant of Babel, Cave Magnus, we're going to get our music. Sealed Cave, we need to trade the Pink Tail. We also need to launch the Falcon so that Hook is pulling double duty. We'll need to find the Sand Ruby. We'll need to do the cannon in the tower. So, as always, 7 objectives, all of them requiring key items, means that we're almost always going to be guaranteed a very, very close to full completion, if not full completion, by our runners. So it's always going to be a good test for them.
Absolutely. So far this week, we've seen a good handful of 17 out of 17. And as you've mentioned, a number of runs that have come pretty close. And as is fitting the name, a lot of adamant armor showing up. So that small may be able to survive a little longer. But I would not be surprised to see our runners a little more interested in other characters showing up.
Certainly. You can always make that Hallam work. Get few levels up there, get the Virus and Quake. You're set to go for the mid game. One thing I have noticed is that we don't have to complete anything in the subterranean, so it's entirely possible we can completely fade the moon. We will do the Dark Crystal to get the Giant of Babel, but it isn't possible that the path will be away from the moon. We shall see.
Absolutely. An early pass, and you'll be able to avoid that area entirely. Although, could also be where all of our key items are hiding. How haunted this moon will be, we'll just have to wait and see.
Absolutely. I've seen some seeds where the moon had everything, some seeds where the moon had nothing. As we wait to get our races going, which will be starting in just a moment, just want to point out that this Artemis Bow group has, I believe, 7 people in it. It's one of those groups that have more than the average group, so each of our runners will be running 6 races, hoping to get that coveted top spot and a direct path into the next round. The next 2 runners in the table, of course, will get a playoff to get into that next round as well.
Yep, and play we shall. As our runners are off in the Barren Castle, we'll see that our first companion is Rydia, as we have some form of Mylon just handing over a J item. So that is not exactly a strong start. That Sylph, though, in that starter package, gives Rydia a bit of utility.
That is an excellent find. We've got the Black Mage pair here. I see we got a Blizzard, and then we got 3 more Blizzards in the pack as well. So we got a whole lot of damaging J items to go. That Sylph is excellent, and does mean that I don't know how much time you want to spend looting on the overworld before starting to continue on your progression.
Well, certainly you're going to make a quick stop over to Bedward, get that free key item out of the way, although John is going to go and grab the hovercraft first, or at least grab the items in the DMCN basement.
Hovercraft is required. Obviously, if you've got Launch Falcon and trade the Pink Tail, so you know you're going to need it at some point, it makes sense to pair it with a early Damsian treasury check. Speaking of the Hook, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie's took it to bed with him.
And of course, the musician would know a thing or two about hooks. So when JBrunThead's over there, he'll be able to drag that hovercraft wherever he pleases.
It does open up the Evelyn Cave for some potential early looting and an extra character if you want, but I think, considering that you don't have the greatest power level at the very, very early game because you don't have any good spells on your Hallam, and you're going to need to kill at least 1 boss in order to get Rydia up to the point where she can cast that Sylph, I think it makes a lot of sense to dive to Evelyn right now.
Yeah, I would definitely want that third character as well. Hoping that it would be, something handy for that early game. Edge. I don't believe that's considered gated enough to have our Cecil, for example. But there's still some good physical fighters that you can bring into the party.
Absolutely. JBrun is looking at the front of Hobbs, and, well, there's some more Sylph.
See, it's got jokes.
Well, the good news there is you can sell that Sylph summon in your inventory. That sells for a pretty penny, so that can possibly get you some good camping gear or anything else you might find early on in the seed.
Yeah, but the gear out of chests has been fairly middling thus far. The black belt's nice to have, and wizard hat nice to have, but nothing, surprising, which I would say is not really a surprise for the early locations that they're hitting up. That cane up on Hobbs, facing off against an octopus.
That's definitely a fight you want to take. Getting that cane paired with the Palom and the Rydia early game, that fills in that gap you have. He's going to help you get through that this early fight. If Rydia can stay up and get the experience here, she'll be set to go with Sylph. You have a good amount of power. Meanwhile, it looks like John is going to be taking a look into the shops here in Troya.
Yep, grabbing some Cure 2s. Those are nice very early on, but they quickly get outpaced by Cure 3s and just natural healing. But with this party, you do need some manner of healing.
Yes, that is certainly a little bit of a gap you have. JBrun is through the fight there. Got this level 2 spells on Pal. Unfortunately, Rydia could not survive, so we'll still need a little bit more experience if we want to get her casting Sylph.
Oh. Going over to Evelyn. That's even more reason to keep Rydia up, as we find a Leviathan and a Heroine robe. So whatever direction you want her to grow up in, you've got the gear to do so.
Yes, this being a gated location, since it is gated behind the hook, you are going to find a better than average amount of gear here. Also, because there is a trapped chest you do have to dodge, so that also increases the value. So, finding stuff like that Leviathan summon is not a surprising pull from this area.
But JBrun is sticking with a more traditional early game path and heading into the Antlion Cave, so loot here will be a little less, but there is a boss here that can give you a key item.
Absolutely. It looks like John is going to take a peek at this character, finds a tell-up, so more magic.
Yes, is it magic you want? I'm guessing John is interested in him. But we'll see when JBrun gets there if that's a character that he cares about. But we did see that Ashura is going to be on that hook route.
That's certainly not a bad place to find that fight. It's definitely doable in that second spot without too much problem. You have definitely have several ways to get around that. So when the time comes, get through that fight. It shouldn't be too much of an issue. JBrun's going to show us the boss here. It's going to be a bunch of dolls sharing 1,000 hit points between them.
Yes, and not sharing them evenly, so a single blizzard ought to knock them down. And it does. So one shot, JBrun is through, Rydia gets XP. Do we get a key item, though?
That's a no, and that's a reset.
Wow. I'm honestly a little surprised by that, given the Rydia XP situation. I mean, there's plenty of opportunities, other places to get it, but it doesn't hurt to have that early.
That's true. I wonder if JBrunTR is just going to commit to a Rydia anchor right from the get-go.
Yeah, quite possible.
Instead, we're going to get first off a Todd spells check, and then we're going to see a Porum, excuse me, sitting there with a Sparkle, and he's going to try to take this fight on. It's going to be a Plague, so that's definitely going to be doable in the first spot here.
Yeah, this is actually a spot that you want to see one of the rougher Sparkles, because it has so little HP. It's very easy to knock down. Kane can't do it in one jump, apparently, but trust me, it's easy to knock down.
Now, we are going to see what the second fight brings. We are rather weak for this spot, in my opinion. It's going to be another Sparkle. But see if it's something we can find a way through.
This is what he wanted in the first spot. But JBrun does have Star Veils, is run buffering, gets one off. So Kane is going to be protected. There's no XP in this spot, so it doesn't entirely matter. It's just about getting that out and cleaning up the damage.
Yeah, the problem is that the magic attack of this spot, as you see, is not very great. Only about 1,000 damage here. He's going to do about another $2,000 worth of damage here, and I don't know if he's going to have the time before Wyvern starts reflecting nukes off themselves.
Yeah, it's low magic power, but it's not zero magic power, so those nukes will KO anyone they touch. But 3 characters up, you might be able to roulette and kind of stumble your way through.
It's going to take a lot of clever manipulation here to get this fight done. Certainly possible.
And JBrun does seem committed to that bit. But John, meanwhile, is going to go into that Antlion Cave. We'll see if he's interested in the rewards from it. Probably not the item, but the XP. We'll have to find out.
Have Wyvern remedying itself. You rarely get to the point of the battle where you see that come out.
Yeah, much less the point where it has to re-wall itself. Yeah, JBrun just... I don't know that he has the damage output to make this happen.
I think it's going to be a case where if you're stubborn enough, you can make it work.
Yeah, but that's a lot of time invested.
That's absolutely true.
And at this rate, a lot of life potions being invested too.
Meanwhile, we do see John with the Rydia up, going to give her Leviathan, give her Sylph. She is poised to be a force to be reckoned with in the mid game here. And one thing you can do, if you do still have a wall up, is to use Rydia and have her cast a summon, since a summon creates a Mega Nuke counter according to Wyvern's scripting. So if you do have a wall up still, that's one way to sort of try to speed this fight up, bounce another Mega Nuke off, that'd be another 1,000 points of damage. That might be enough to get through this a bit quicker.
But we're seeing on John's side, so both of our runners used that Blizzard to take care of the dolls when they visited. The problem is John used it with Rydia. I believe that is the HP-based ice spell. But either way, JBrun having used it with Kane, that was enough damage. John didn't get that damage. John got a big doll instead.
But thankfully, the HP here is so low that that doll really doesn't have much time to do anything before it itself goes down as well. We're welcoming Raiders from Free Enterprise 2. We just started off a new race here between JohnBirckhead and JBrunTR. Both our runners have a hook and not much else. They have a lot of black magic users, and they're just trying to navigate the early part of the seed, so you are in for a treat.
Yes, from the looks of things, John is in for a cane in mere moments. As soon as he climbs Mount Hobbs, assuming he wants to take care of that Octomam, should not be hard to take care of.
No, especially because of all the extra spells that Rita can now cast. Meanwhile, JBrunTR is still giving it the college try here against this Wyvern. This spot is very slow, which I think he is taking advantage of to have the wall fall off. Oh.
No, that was a lot of time invested and no payout. Gonna want to come back with a bit more strength, maybe a fourth character. But if you're able to outpace that remedy, then you've got it. Just a wee bit too early.
Right, that was a bold move to take on the bosses in the inn there. Those are usually a little bit harder than you would want at this time. You see JBrun there sells the Silk, since he did get that from the front of Hobbs. Gives him a nice infusion of money here. I'm going to pick a wind spear for the cane. We've seen some decent defensive items, some decent armor, but no great weapons for Kenya. So yeah, that'll give you a decent bump here.
Yeah, that black belt is really the best thing you have. That +5 strength, I don't think that could have made the difference. But you do see a lot of runners hesitating to equip characters, even in Sineki, which this is using, just to minimize the menuing. It is more efficient to do so. You end up taking a lot of fights kind of under-geared for what you could be. And it's a tough margin.
It certainly is a sort of a risk-reward thing you've got to play, as with a lot of scenarios in a randomizer.
Oh, absolutely. But we see that Dark Knight Cecil is invading Fabul all on his own. Good job. We're going to hear a speech, and then fight's over. JBrun had decided to go with picking up Palom first, so Rydia not going to get the XP here either, from the looks of it.
Timing's just not going to work out. He did queue up that life potion, but Dark Knight's going to go away before it can come off. But we'll see what the king has in terms of a key item. So far, we've been pretty key item poor in the spots, but a Baron key possibly promises more.
I mean, honestly, with Dark Knight Cecil doing the assault and then the Baron key being the reward, you can form a narrative on this whole Fabul situation. But we won't be bothering to do that in the booth. You can leave that for yourself.
JohnBirckhead is right on JBrun's heels here, going to take on that Dark Knight Cecil. Meanwhile, we'll see what JBrun wants to do. He still has Eblin Cave available for him. He did not go down and grab that Tella that's waiting down there. We'll see what else he feels like doing. There's also other deals if he wants to do that, but it looks like he's going to be heading back to Baron.
Yeah, did not pick up that Tella, nor would he pick up the equipment that was in that cave, and there was a decent scattering, but is committed to this inn, is going to try to make this happen once that Porum in his party.
With that extra oomph provided by the Wind Spear, we'll see if that makes a difference. First off, of course, we do have the Plague, which is absolutely free in this spot.
One shot versus the 2 shots last time. I'd say it's a little stronger. A little bit could do it.
Absolutely. Unsurprisingly, John is through the Dark Knight, gets the Baron key. Finds a silk web in that chest there, which is always a nice find to have.
Yeah, I'll always want to have at least one of those in your pocket.
JBrun gets that Star Veil up, gets 2 of them up. That's going to be really helpful since we'll have twice the reflected Mega Nuke damage here. I think he also dropped the battle speed to help get these menus off. So yeah, there we go. 2250, already more than halfway done with this fight. 2 characters up and healthy. Should be a lot easier.
And John, meanwhile, going over to Ordeals. With that Tella, sure, there's an incentive to do that.
Absolutely, makes a lot of sense. Unlock the rest of Tel's spells, as well as check the key item available here. And we'll see the first boss here on John's side.
More sparkle.
We're getting them out of the way early.
Okay. Not a terrible one to find, especially when Rydia's got Leviathan available.
No, this spot is exceedingly weak when it comes to physical attacks, and that's basically a lot of what the Lunar does here, aside from the breath, which is HP based. So this should go down, especially after a Leviathan, very quickly.
Yep, and there they go.
One boss down, 2 to go. Meanwhile, JBrun looks like we're having a better fight over here on the Wyvern side. Still seeing those remedies, though, but when you got 450 per jump against the 400 remedy, and, you know, the spells being cast from Palom, this should be working out more in his favor.
And it works out entirely. JBrun threw the Baron in fights. We'll get that Porum, and we'll get a Twin Harp. So you have to go through those fights. You don't have to do them as early as JBrun did, but you will have to go through them.
Absolutely. Cave Magnus being one of our required objectives, so we will be getting our music sooner or later. Obviously, the question is when you want to do that. The hook route is potentially your only way underground. You might not see the magnet key on the above ground, so if you want to clear out everything above ground, you might want to hit Cave Magnus. But if you feel like you're strong enough to take out the underground, you know, you might want to do the hook and see what's waiting for you down there.
Yeah, but it looks like Mom Bomb is what's waiting for you on Mount Ordeals, and that is slowing John down. Mom Bomb gets a lot of bonus HP wherever she lands, and now John has to chip through all of that. And that is a fairly strong explosion coming out of it. He's got the HP to handle it, but it's a little beefy.
Right, but you know, with the J items that we've found so far, you know, the one granite drum is more than enough to take out all of the smaller bombs. John is through and will be getting the Tele online, as well as taking a look at what the key item holds here. Meanwhile, JBrun is going to check out the Outlet Cave here. We know there's a fairly good amount of equipment here, and looks like JBrun is going to avail himself of it, get that Leviathan summon, get the Heroine robe that's also down here.
And as raised in chat, neither runner has actually gone into the castle proper. There's more checks there, more trap chests to deal with, but those can have very high level gear if you can handle those fights. Just a longsword and a demist fight at the top of Ordeals.
Whoa, we are getting not only not key items, but not even great items in general. I think we had a blizzard, we had a samurai shield, and now we've got a longsword. So
yeah, afraid so.
Lots of zonks.
Looks like the shop down in the Eblin Cave is pretty good though. Coffins, hourglasses, good utility for grind situations.
You're always guaranteed to get a couple of those nice tier 5 items there, so you're always want to take a check down here when you get the ability to access these shops. Meanwhile, John having very little issue with the demist fight. And it looks like with that Heroine robe in hand, JBrun is going to let Porum maybe swing a couple times with that stick.
Yeah, you become a little less concerned with the stat penalties that come with the Heroine robe if you're giving the character the best stat boosting stick that's available.
Looks like John is going to be following up with JBrunTR's footsteps. Going to take on this Baron in most likely. See how he fares with the Wyvern Surprise in the second slot.
Now the question is, does he then go into Baron Castle? Or is it still a little too early for him?
I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a punt at it. He's got a decent amount of power here with the cane and with the Tello that's fully powered. It's probably doable this time.
Yeah, we know the first fight is a purple robe of some description. It's probably not going to be that bad. You'd only be worried about a nasty surprise on the throne itself. But I can't imagine there's a whole lot that would really mess up the strategy.
Got JBrun, who did find the Staleband chest and is taking it. Going to try to see if we can spike a good item in the trap chest.
Yeah, it's John through the Wyvern, nice and fast.
Nice damage on that virus spell. It's a very important power level spike that you hit when you get that spell. And there's the Twin Harp, as we've seen before, so now John also has music available. Meanwhile, JBrunTR sides one Staleband down, the second one...
Second one gone as well, yeah.
Yeah, that's the Ice 2 take care of business. Getting a few levels on his party.
Yep, did get a life glitch in on the back Staleman, so just that nice little extra boost early on. And a Gapple.
Well, definitely not what you're looking for, I must say. It's maybe nice to have, depending upon who you're taking into the Z fight, give them a little more extra security against a Big Bang. But we'll see where he goes from here. If he's going to take just the character move out, or if he's just going to go ahead and commit to the hook route.
No, John is going to go ahead into the castle proper.
Like I said, I think that makes a lot of sense at this point with what your party has. I think you can get through that first blue rogue fight, no matter what it is, and it all depends on what's on the throne.
Yeah, I guess the only counter argument would be that it's not one of your objectives, but you don't have a lot of your objectives accessible to you right now, and decent enough chance that it'll give you something, if only a character that you want.
That's true. I mean, you could go to Cape Magnus since that is a required, but you'd prefer to route that in maybe with a Tower of Zopchek as well. So, you're already here at Baron as well. So, for a routing standpoint, I think it makes sense.
Oh, certainly.
Oh, I picked up a Rune Axe for the cane there. It's always a very nice weapon to use. Oh, it's a Mylon, not a blue robe. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. And it's the Z form on top of it. JBrun looks like is not interested in taking the hook route just yet. Can't blame him.
Wants to stay above ground for a little bit longer, but that is definitely a worthwhile dip to Ebon Cave with all the equipment that they got and the extra character.
And yep, following up the same way that John did, sees that Tella is like, alright, let's make him a good Tella.
One thing I have noticed from people playing this flag set is that Tella may not be as strong as in previous tournaments. A lot of times, Tella meant, oh yes, now I can do a grind on the Giant, for example, but it seems like you're doing so much completion, and with Sirens available in a lot of seeds, that Tella is no longer an instant win button, if you will. We've got John through the fight. We got John seeing it's the CPU on the throne.
Yep. Something over reliance on technology. Something. We'll just beat up these orbs. He'll be fine.
Yes, this is definitely not a problem here.
Yeah, this is debugging. This is percussive maintenance, we call it. When something's not working the way you want, and you just hit it really hard.
Clears out that first orb with the virus. We've got a. I'm guessing that Rydia has the heroin rope equipped, given that they're doing 500 from the back row. And we're going to hope that the Leviathan finishes it off.
Finishes off the attacker, but not the core.
It does mean we might see a couple Globe 199s and the orbs recovering. Hopefully we can get through CPU, and maybe CPU will choose the right people to Globe 199, like that Tella.
Yeah, no, I'm okay with that choice. And that's the only one that goes off. John is through the Baron Castle fights.
Very good on his side. We'll see what the character is, and we'll see what the key item is.
It's the Boy of Baron.
And there we go. That's definitely someone we want to see. We're going to be taking Kane's spot here. That's an interesting choice, I'd say.
Replacing one Boy of Baron for another Boy of Baron.
I mean, you do have the Rydia, and you do have the Palom, so that is your Black Mage is covered there. It's a very interesting choice. It makes me think you want to do sort of a reflect strat against Z, but you got to get there first. Meanwhile, JBrun also dealing with the explosions on his side, taking out two of his characters, but he still has several blizzards from that opening pack.
And speaking of available characters, the package is the reward for taking care of the Baron Castle. A little bit of a zonk with this objective set, but hey, there's a ninja.
Now, if you were willing to get rid of Kane, you're not going to want to take Edge either, apparently.
Yeah. If you're one who looked at that situation and started ditching mages, then seeing Edge might be like, okay, we're leaning full Zerker, give me all the melee fighters you have.
Another thing that I found very interesting as this tournament is kicked off is that I've seen a lot of different party compositions in races. And I think it's definitely a case where only having those 4 spots makes you really prioritize certain things over the others.
Yeah, and certainly the availability of the characters, because as you said, Flax, there is very high completion on nearly all of the matches so far. So the characters that you get early on, they have so much opportunity to grow and get strong. But those other characters may not be coming until fairly late in the seed, at which point, like, folks will dismiss a Cecil, as good as he is, just because he came so late.
That is always the case. You have to balance in later seeds. Is it worth spending the time to get the experience on a new character when what you have right now might still be good enough? It's all about how comfortable you are facing Z in certain spots. We do have a very interesting party on John's side for this fight, considering the fact that this fight is one of the highest magic defenses in the game. Mm-hmm. And you're bringing in 3 mages and a fresh out-of-the-box Cecil, so we're going to see what happens.
Now, to be fair, John's Rydia is less of a summoner and more of a ranger with the equipment that she's got on, but even so, this is going to be a little scary, but it is going to be accompanied by some rockin' tunes. Well, if you're going to go FF5 and wanted to go rocking, you would go with Battle on the Big Bridge. But Lena's theme, The Day Will Come, whichever version that was, very, very good tune. And very nice run through that Odin fight.
Yes, I do think that John kind of lucked out here given his party composition. You saw that the Zeus Rage is about 600 damage. I believe if you were to do that in any other spot, it would do upwards of 4,000 or 5,000 at that spot. So, I mean, you're still able to get through the massive amounts of magic defense there.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the exact machinations that makes it happen, but at the end of the day, yeah, Odin at Cave Magnus, still weak to lightning. Still worth doing.
That's right. So that is the first objective done for John, killing Cave Magnus, to get the pan for his troubles. So I think that does mean we got to go underground using the hook route, unless we feel very lucky and want to try to take on Barren Basement to see if we can spike a magma key there.
I think John is a little more interested in hitting up the Eblin Castle, try and get some extra power on his party, and probably go straight from there to the hook route.
Absolutely. You got 3 trap chests here at the castle. I think you're going to want to take all of them, not only for the experience, but also for the potentially very good weapons you could find there.
Yeah, but with those hourglasses in hand, you're not going to be terribly afraid of anything in here. As long as you can stand up long enough to get that hourglass off, everything will be clean.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, JBrunTR is through the first fight here in Barren Castle, taking on the CPU for himself. And we'll see what kind of equipment we can pull out of this usually very strong, very incentivized equipment location.
Well, an Artemis Bow would be a strong choice for an archer.
I'll say you have that radio with the heroine robe, and you give her an Artemis Bow, and who needs magic?
So our first 4 pulls, we got Crystal Armor, Artemis Bow, Zeus Gauntlet, White Spear, Crystal Ring. Evelyn's got the goods.
I mean, you did get rid of that cane, so unfortunately that White Spear doesn't have a good home, but
it's still
else,
good.
Everything else you really can't complain about.
It's just good and lonely.
I mean, the tier of gear in this spot can just be immense, and if you get the right gear for your situation, it can just blow you through the first part of the seed. Cursed Ring as well, why not?
Yeah.
Sure.
That'll handle the last half of the seed. We don't need 2 cursed rings. That's 2 cursed. That's excessive curse.
Also, apparently all the trap chests are going to be located on the right-hand tower. And, this Cursed Ring itself for a lot of money as well. So even though you got a second one, that's a decent number of sirens if you find them.
Oh yeah, nothing that John has found in Eblin Castle is useless. It's just some things are more useful than others. Is JBrunTR through the Barren Throne? Has that Cecil? Is deliberating that Cecil?
Also, getting rid of the cane. I'll be honest with you, I would not have made that choice. So I'm very, very interested to talk to the runners afterwards to see what they were thinking about their party compositions.
Yeah, we'll see if they both kind of drew the same conclusions based on what we're seeing, or if they just, for different reasons, happen to make the same decision. Go ahead.
I would say it's perfectly fine decision, especially if you want to go strong on magic for your fight with Z. So I certainly don't think it's a bad decision. It's just very interesting to see both of them make that. Meanwhile, John's was through the first fight. I think there was a life staff in the first box, so a very nice item if you had the nice white mage, which unfortunately we don't have.
Yeah, we already had one of those available. The Avenger Sword, though. Physical fighters, maybe have some of those. Give them that.
It also works very well with that the crystal armor that we have Cecil wearing right now, since normally you can't get Berserk using the crystal armor, but the Avenger, I think, is the only way you can circumvent that.
Correct. I know a lot of runners are just not interested in the crystal armor for that precise reason. Personally, if I get crystal armor, maybe I'll equip it, maybe not, but I keep it in the back pocket, because that combo I personally am in favor of.
And speaking of not interested, JBrun takes a look at the Baron basement, sees Ogopogo, and says, I'm good.
Yeah, let's try to avoid having noodles on the menu.
And I believe we've seen JBrun parking outside of Eblin Castle as well, fading the harp at the moment. We're going to do some searching for equipment here, and it's very strong stuff here.
John's having a little slow go with the Mad Ogres, but the Hourglasses means you can take whatever time you need to, but yeah, Mad Ogres are mages, and they are very good at resisting their magic. They weren't good enough to resist Berserk, but...
Getting a few more levels and getting a crystal sword. Oh my goodness, this... Yeah, this seed suddenly became easy mode.
I mean, getting rid of the cane is the only part of that transaction that we have the curiosity and the concern about. Taking Cecil, yes, that was correct. That was clearly correct.
And looking at our objectives, we are going to be getting at least one set of admin armor with that pink tail trade-in, so this Cecil is just going to be power overwhelming. If he really wants to put that admin armor, that's just might even be too much at that point.
Yeah, he has gone beyond the ready for anything stage. There is nothing that would stop an adamant armor crystal sword Cecil. It doesn't exist. This game doesn't have a super enough super boss.
I mean, look at this stuff. You got the crystal with the Avenger in the back pocket to trade into during battles to get that glitch off. You got the crystal armor. You got a Zeus gauntlet. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's going to be the Cecil show from here on out. And we see also that John is opting to curse Hela right now, so that's going to be a perfect anchor for the rest of the game as well. That's sorted.
Yeah, really at this point, all the other party members in John's party are just, accessory. They don't have to do anything. They could just loiter. They could just sit in the car while we take care of things. We'll put the radio on.
Yeah. Yeah, you look into this flag set, you think, I'm only going to have 4 characters. How am I going to survive with that drop of power? Well, here's how you survive it.
But JBrun is going to be in a very similar situation very soon, as he's also sweeping through Eblin Castle, taking on the Black Cat fight at the moment.
And as you see on John's side, he's very happy with his equipment right now. There's no need to look for that the Mad Ogre chest hiding in this area. Let's just get to getting the Falcon launched. Let's get underground. Let's get on with the seed.
Yeah, what's funny is we may actually see fewer adamants than than average. We've been seeing like multiple in many matches so far, but we may only get the one for both of these runners just because they're not going to bother looking for any more. And, we have the Baron Guards as our first fight on the hook route.
I mean, you're always happy to see that crystal sword. Obviously, this is going to go down in one shot. Would be great for use of the rune axes since they do count as mages. But let's be honest, you got a crystal sword. Let's not try to be too finesse about this. Taking off the cursed ring since this second spot here is not as fast. So you don't necessarily have to have that negative agility anchor, speed everybody else up.
Actually put it on Palom and move Palom to the middle. Interesting approach.
It does make sense. So if you want to wall up Sora.
Yeah, get Tella in that first spot. Let him move as quickly as possible.
I'm going to have to imagine Asura's not going to spend too much more time bothering John in this spot. Speaking of bothering, however, JBrun is having a little bit of an issue getting through these skulls, but you've got that really strong armor on Cecil covering everybody. It's only a matter of time here.
Yeah, I think his only situation was that I don't believe he tented up outside, so Rydia is not sitting on any MP.
There's that Avenger. That's the first part of the solution here. Ooh, I wonder if John took off the Avenger between the fight. I wonder if he
did not.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's going to still it's going to be very doable here. I don't think we're going to have any issues getting through, but it's going to take a little bit longer in that case.
Yeah, I think JBrun is going to have a faster time with these ogres, though. Set some charm arrows on Rydia, and then just slapping the Avenger on Cecil. So really the challenge is having other party members up.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like Palom's not going to get the benefit of the experience here, but after JBrun sees what the prize was for beating these ogres, I don't think he's going to mind too much.
Yeah, no, that party member has become superfluous. Actually, wait, that was 2 crystal armors and 2 Artemis bows in Eblin. Plural, and 2 Bacchus.
Oh, well, the Bacchus wines, I mean, I was going to say Bacchus wines look really nice now, but the only person who's going to be using Bacchus wines in this party has an Avenger at the ready, so it's gilding the lily a bit.
Well, you give that to your archer Rydia, I guess.
Now, the only slight worry here, I'd say, for John is that will you be able to get through Asura's hit points before the wall falls off? That's going to be kind of a danger here of only doing about 1,000, 1,200 per swing.
Yeah, hard to say. I mean, you spent so little time on the Baron Guards that if you do have to reset, it's a little disappointing, but not catastrophic.
No, it would just be more annoying from almost a psychological standpoint, feeling that you might have just dropped a few minutes in a spot where you did need to. But it looks like it's not going to be a problem. John is through with this fight.
Yep, so it looks like it'll be right around the 48-minute mark that our first runner gets underground.
Not only that, we do have that 5th objective, Launch Falcon, taken care of. It turns out it had to be done in order to get underground, so not really having to go out of the way.
So yeah, this opens up a good number of checks down in the underground. Doesn't advance anything else just yet. We still need Darkness Crystal, Luca Key, Pink Tail, Sand Ruby, Tower Key, like every other objective. We are a key item away still.
True, but now we have access to the free chest in the Fey March. We have the pan already, so that's 3 more checks there. We could have the seed open up a lot in the next few minutes with John.
Also, apparently there were 3 curse rings. There are 3 curse rings in the seed flax. You can curse everyone else in the party but Cecil. There's no reason to. It's probably a bad idea, but you could do it.
Yeah, it might be a challenge run, you know. It's one of those things you do to make the game harder in case you find this game too easy. JBrun is right on John's heels here, getting through the guards fight, getting that Avenger glitch on the Crystal Sword. Hopefully he will remember to switch it out so he'll have a slightly easier time with the Asura. Meanwhile, John is down here bonking Yang with the pan.
The Sylphs have tried to help, you know, offering that Excalibur. They're like, this is the best sword we've ever heard of. We have better. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to tell you that, but...
A for effort. And, you know, it would be a decent dart if we kept that edge.
I mean, the craftsmanship is amazing. Let's not get it wrong here.
Unfortunately, it's not the progression we're looking for. But let's see where John wants to take his next shot at finding a good key item.
Oh yeah, JBrun did not manage to get a wall up on Ashura, so is just gonna have to power through. The Avenger Crystal Sword, though, yeah, that's easily twice the damage, and Leviathan tried.
Unfortunately, I think that's the minus to wisdom on the heroine robe. I think the Grittiest still has on.
Yeah, it's that or trying to set the king of the summoned monsters against the queen of summoned monsters. I can't imagine that's a good tactical decision.
It still is a quite decent amount of power that's coming out here, so... probably still be able to get through that fight. Meanwhile, we see nothing behind the throne room, which means that blank sprite belongs to Antlion.
Yep, and here comes some dancing claws.
JBrun is through Asura, gets to the underground in about 51.5 minutes, just a few minutes behind John.
Yep, roughly 4 minutes behind all told.
That does have an asterisk, unfortunately, because JBrun still does have to do Cave Magnus. John did get
that is true, yes.
On the overworld, so John has a little bit more of a head start here.
Yeah, that is more than enough time to be made up by a difference of routing or even a difference of fight quality. So, plenty of seeds still to go.
Absolutely. JBrun, remembering to take a look at the top of the tower spot, sees Kainatsu there.
Oh, and we have a Rosa at Dwarf Castle who has taken Rydia's spot.
Yeah, that's a trade I could definitely get behind here. And we have that Avenger still on Cecil, and that's going to make that fight easy, even if it didn't just take him out outright. You know, just a few strikes after he does his second kick, and that would end up that fight.
He didn't even get a chance to say ouch. That man has a family. Go return the pan to the family, actually.
JBrun is heading down here, taking a beeline at the Fey March. Yeah, not checking any of the chests here. He's fine for equipment. And we'll see what we've got from the castle.
Well, we have the Adamant Rock and the Party Rock. So, Dwarf Castle will lead you in that direction. But neither of those are directing towards our objectives.
No, we are still searching for something that would get us closer towards one of the other 5 objectives we need to do. JBrun's healing up, saving on Feymarch. Going to probably take a look at the bosses in the basement, see if any of them are weak to crystal swords.
Dark Elf, probably weak to Crystal Sword.
Yeah, once he turns into the dragon form, that's a weakness to holy bat.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just extra weak to Crystal Sword.
Yeah. I was going to say, the fight against either the elements or Ruby is going to be slightly more interesting. Sheila 1 is a defense sword, and Sheila 2 is Artemis arrows. Wow.
Just the leftovers from all the other martial arts that Yang never quite picked up. He's like, no, I'm good with bare knuckle brawling. Don't need a sword. Don't need to take up archery. I'm good.
Yeah, JBrun melts through the fight there, gets the tower key. That is the required fight there.
Yep, so that is one more objective that JBrun can work towards, and knowing that Kinazo is up at the top of tower can, kind of make a plan on approaching that entire bit. Probably not going to be terribly scary for him, honestly.
There is very little that is very scary for a crystal sword.
Well, fair.
Meanwhile, John, already above the ground after doing the pan checks, is going to go ahead and take care of the Tower of Zot. JBrun is going to brave the Fire 2 counters from Ruby, but since Ruby's in the left spot, not the right spot, the left spot doesn't have much magic attack, so yeah, that's not going to do too much damage, although the glare itself...
Glare is glare, though, yeah.
It's sort of the reverse of what we're saying about the lightning attack against Odin in the Cave Magnus. It's glare is glare no matter where it comes from.
Rubicante taking those crystal sword hits, like, was it ridiculously overpowered attack? Let me show you how.
And that's going to be a reset. Might have to slightly rethink this fight. It's a lot of power, but you got to be able to dodge that glare.
And we have Water Hag in the Magus Sisters spot, so really just not gated at all up here. 2 character checks coming off after this, plus 1 more boss fight to get whatever key item is at the top of this tower.
Right, although I think the only thing we might ever want at this point is a Fu. I think every other character, based on how John has chosen his character so far, probably not going to be added to the party.
Yeah, very likely.
And thanks to the Yang that we know is in the Dwarf Castle, we've got a double Yang situation already up here on the tower.
And a Bard. So that's 2 characters you're not taking.
Yes, we haven't even seen the spoon yet, so I can't imagine Eddie having any part right now. On the other screen, we see JBrun going to take a third shot at the Rubicante here, doing a little bit more of manipulation, trying to find the right combination to get through here.
Oh, and the doctor has switched towers.
Yeah, the only risk of this spot would be something that has a very strong magic attack. This spot has a surprising amount of magic attack power. Dr. Luge and Balnab, not that boss.
Yep, it's a classic slot where the vanilla boss does some kind of status magic, so that stat goes way up to make sure it lands.
It's like JBrun is trying to do a more of a traditional ice-based attack, but again, having the issues of those punches at this spot just being so strong.
Yeah. And so we are hitting that second time in this run that JBrun is just really honing in, really being stubborn on a specific fight. We'll see how much he's willing to bang his head against it. And if he does, hopefully it pays out. But I would not be afraid of running away, taking care of some of the other stuff that you have access to, and coming back to it a bit stronger and a bit wiser.
That's definitely an option. We have a pink tail on John's side, so that's an adamant armor. That's an objective done. So power's not required.
Yep, which naturally means Dwarf Castle also required.
Looks like JBrun's going to do a little bit more shopping before deciding if we want to do another attempt at the Ruby. Meanwhile, John doing a smart bit of routing here, since after you go through the Tower of Zot, you're dumped back here at Baron Castle. Might as well go ahead and check to see who's in the basement.
It's a Sparkle.
We've seen Ogo here, so it's a question if we want to power through Ogo. Which I think with that Avenger Crystal Sword, it's worth a shout. While JBrun doing a bit more manipulation, trying to find the perfect formula to get through this fight. Unfortunately, on John's side, we see that the Yoga fight was a little bit too much in this situation. See if he wants to try it again.
Yeah, is diving back in.
Now that you know what you have to you're up against, you can probably switch your strategy around from this beginning and be more prepared for a fight like that. JBrun looks to be going back to the original strategy of I've got a crystal sword. Let's see if I can damage race the Ruby here, but unfortunately, those glares not being friendly towards them.
Yeah, I don't think these two spellcasts is going to be enough. They're large numbers, but not large enough.
I can definitely sympathize with JBrun here. You don't want to leave one fight down here gnawing at you in the back of your mind. Is there something there that's valuable? I don't want to spend the time to go back and have to deal with it again after having spent so much time here before. But you do have other spots available, easier spots that can provide you with some more better equipment, some or potential for progression. So I definitely do think discretion being the better part of valor here would not be a bad choice.
Absolutely agreed. And it turns out there are other difficult fights that you can get rewards from. John pulling that pass from the Ogopogo. Not a total freebie in there, but that is going to be a good time saving, especially if, as we were saying at the top of the program, we have no objectives on the moon. The moon could be meaningfully haunted. The way the key items have shook out so far, probably something up there, but still.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the number of busts we've had on the ground, especially in the early going, you got to imagine there's going to at least probably 2 or 3 key items up there on the moon. The question is, are they the ones that we need in order to beat the seed? But in the meantime, we've got John trading that Pinktail, going to get that adamant armor, going to get number 4 lit up. And we know we do have access to that tower key. JBrun has found it. So we'll have Destroy the Super Cannon taken care of. So it's just a matter of now finding the Sand Ruby, the Luca Key, and the Darkness Crystal.
Yep, and those can't all be a chain one after another, but these could come, in sequence and rather quickly at that. Or we could be in for a fair bit more digging. And this Rubicante could actually hold a lot of value.
Now, I'm afraid we're about to find what's going to be a very interesting contrast here. John is going to come down here, going to see these fights and take these fights. I'm almost positive. He's going to have that adamant armor. JBrun does not have that adamant armor. I'm afraid to see the difference that makes of these fights.
It's going to be substantial, I'm afraid to say. Even if the end of the program is just Cecil standing all on his lonesome, if you get through the fight, you get through the fight. That's what matters here.
It looks like the fight's behaving a little bit better for JBrun this time.
Yeah, Battle Speed 6, Tele standing. Glare is still glare, but there's more targets for it, and you're better able to handle it.
I mean, it's never been a problem of getting the damage out. It's just the fact that Rubicante is doing just as much damage to you. So hopefully he can get through it this last time here. And obviously, I hope for his sake that a worthwhile key item here as well. You'd hate to do this only to get,
Just 1-2 punch, and the menuing of frustration.
I felt those butt pushes right there. In the meantime, we do see John coming down here, taking on that Dark Elf fight first. That's the clearly easier fight of the two, and so it makes a lot of sense to grab that one first. And given the fact that he did not cast Exit, I think JBrun's going to give this one more try.
Yeah, looks like. John, meanwhile, threw the Dark Elf, which was a bit of a foregone conclusion with a Crystal Sword. Both of these runners were swinging quad 9s in that fight.
Grabs that tower key. I'm sure you're happy to see that, because again, that's object number 7, ready to go.
Yep. Going over to Ruby without saving, hoping that the setup is that much stronger for John. Otherwise, he's going to have to come back and do it all over again.
Well, we're going to see what effect that Adamant Armor does. Put it on the Rosa there.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, the fire cast just tickling.
Yeah, but I don't believe glare counts as elemental. Oh no, it does protect. Okay, there you have it.
No, but as Chad is pointing out, we'll see what happens when the punches come out, because that's a front row Rosa. So we'll still be getting the full brunt of that physical attack, and the physical attack spot stat here is insane. It is just so large.
And Xenocat in chat pointing out that no, glare is considered fire elemental in this game. I know that attack can resemble a tornado, which would be wind elemental in other Final Fantasy games, and this is also the series where an attack called Blaze is ice elemental, so it's whatever.
One thing you learn, especially in this game, that what things say do not necessarily mean what they mean, and oh goodness, that was the one.
Through, yeah.
That's the first shot on Rose on Rubicante. It is the Dark Crystal. Good news is that you have to do it. I mean, JBrun is his intuition is right. This has a very important item, so you have to do it. But oh boy,
yeah, this is rough.
So that is only a Sand Ruby and a Luka key away from go mode on John's side. And it's going right over the tower. Going to go ahead and clear that out. Not even saving beforehand.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that the Super Cannon gives us the Sand Ruby, or gives us the Luka key that goes on to the Sand Ruby. The Kainazo could be holding either one of, John could be functionally in go mode and not realize it, and we wouldn't realize it for another 2 objectives.
Or it could be buried deep in the lunar subterranean.
Or it could be deep in the subterranean.
JBrun still working on this Rubicante, trying to get this fight looks to be again managed pretty well so far, but all it takes is one bad. Well, it's going to be unfortunately a bad ice cast that is going to be healing up. So yeah, he just immediately resets. Meanwhile, we've got John's going to see the Kainatsu that's been on the top of the tower. Go ahead and say, yeah, I think I can Crystal Sword that. And we'll see JBrun take on Rubicante once again. But on the other hand, we do have Kainatsu here.
Yep, he's gathering the water.
Palom's skipping the lightning cast and going straight to the ice cast here. I don't think we're even going to get a...
Oh, the wave did come.
We did get a wave off. But given that he already got about 10,000 points of hit points out before the wave comet really didn't do too much damage there. And yeah, the Crystal Sword takes care of business before the Ice 3 cast can even go off.
But another Zonk, another life staff.
And that's just a quick reset. He did save right outside the room, so we'll go down and clear out the Super Cannon, see if that has any more of a valuable key item. I mean, it obviously is an objective, so we're going to do it.
Oh, it's a free fight in a free fight location. What a shame.
You don't like to see this one because this one is, I mean, you basically breathe hard on this fight and it goes away. So, yeah, seeing the freest of free fights and the freest of free spots, not a good feeling. JBrun using that bluff command to try to get some little extra power on that Palom. Unfortunately, the HP is running a little low there. Opting for the virus cast instead of trying to time the ice cast out, probably the safer method of trying to take out this boss.
Mm-hmm.
And John's traveled down the tower.
JBrun is through.
Oh, excellent! And after he sees what's the prize for winning here, he'll probably feel very vindicated. Well, John is through with the tower through the super cannon, and we're going to see what the prize was there.
The Luca key.
Well,
It's start a chain.
That's one that we needed, so let's go down there immediately and clean that out.
This seed is evil wall. It just likes to start a chain.
Meanwhile, JBrun is so happy to be out of Famar, he's going to go straight to the tower and clear this guy out. And so let's see here. After we complete Luca, I think we've done everything else outside of things that are on the moon or the yeah, I think that's it. So
yeah, I believe that's everything we've got left.
So we'll see. First off, we will see before we fight the boss here what the item was. So we'll see if it's is going to be go mode or not, and then we'll see what the boss here is. Hopefully, it's nothing too bad. This is a very fast spot, but I think we've seen maybe aside from a vanilla evil wall, all the bosses that would really benefit from a very fast spot.
Yeah, Bahamut, I suppose, but yeah, I think that in vanilla is about as bad as it can get. And neither of those are going to be that bad.
Just to protect Ring, so we're still looking for that Sand Ruby.
I wouldn't say Paladin really takes advantage of the speed. If anything, it dislikes being in such a fast slot.
Yeah, that's true. This is going to be more of an annoyance fight with all those slow casts, but it's not going to pose any damage or any danger. Meanwhile, we've got JBrunTR taking on the Kinatsu fight. Don't have to do anything special here. Don't have to take down the wave if you don't want to. Looks like JBrun will, though, because that the damage that is being created by that crystal sword is just so strong.
Well, it's the Cecil show now. I mean, it was always a Cecil show is the thing.
Right, I don't think that changes a lot there.
Now it's explicitly the Cecil show. Everyone else has been asked to leave.
And that's John through the sealed cave. Objective number 3 lit up. 5 down, 2 to go.
Yeah, JBrun reset out of the Kanazo fight. Wasn't an objective, wasn't anything interesting. You just got XP on Cecil at that point, so whatever.
And John has finished the warping out of Luca Cave. Luca Cave, always the fun part of the traversal. And looks to be off to raise the whale. Question here always is, first off, do you take on the giant first, or do you go looking for that sand ruby on the moon?
In John's situation, I go to the moon first. I go down, as soon as I find that sand ruby, get back to the lunar whale, go to the giant via that. I'm done. I'm back on the Earth. Take the sand ruby over, take that pass, bam.
That makes a whole lot of sense to me. Next question, of course, is you're only looking for one key item. Do you do top down or bottom up?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this game.
Generally speaking, when I'm looking for a key item, I'll do top down, only to be contrary-wise. I can see arguments for both cases, because bottom up, you do get access to the ribbon room, which is a double shot for one boss. So let's see what John decides to do.
But then there is the counter argument of top down. That's the least walking.
True, but I have the counter argument of whatever I choose is wrong. So if I go top down, it's at the Yoga spot. If I go bottom up, it's at the Crystal Sword Altar.
Well, this is coming from someone who has won a fair number of races in the community. Is definitely an accomplished runner. Twisted Flax is good at game, I dare say.
JBrun cleared the super cannon. We're heading down Luca Cave next. And now that we've got that big speed bump of Rubiconte out of the way, I don't see much else sitting in his path. Meanwhile, John does face the evil wall at this Bahamut spot, which punches quite hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is actually a little scary for everyone that isn't wearing adamant armor. Fortunately, the one party member that is wearing it can cast Blink, so John won't have a lot of standing party members, but we'll get through this fight. Oh, never mind. Evil wall is evil. It's right there in the name.
Yeah, the front row kind of causes some issues there, because it still gets all of its damage there. If you put rows on the back row there, it'll probably only do much more negligible damage. In the meantime, let's also throw a protector ring on her. Let's see what happens there. But yeah, especially considering the fact that you've got the Tella and the Palom, who are not providing too much more of this fight. Throwing the Palom in the front to sort of act as the as a sacrificial lamb, if you will, makes a lot more sense. Someone's got to stand in front, so yeah.
What would be the stat distribution on the red shirt? Because I think that's what he's got on right now.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll see, now that Rose is in the back row, we'll see her standing up to these punches a lot more. One damage. I'd call that a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
JBrun has hit the bottom of the sealed cave, sees the Pale Dim fight. Again, more of an annoyance because of all the slow casts. Doesn't really pose much of a threat. We'll soon get his third objective up and running on the board. 2 behind John at this point. I think at this point the best chance for him is to hit that Sand Ruby perfectly. If he finds the right routing on the moon, he's still in with a shout. Otherwise, I think John is pretty well strongly in the lead at this point.
Yeah, agreed.
And that is Sealed Cave done for JBrunTR. He's going to be able to take the long warp out. Meanwhile, we definitely do have a much better surviving fight here now that we've got Rosa in the back row. And it's just going to be a matter of time for this wall crumbles, I feel.
Yep, there it goes. So, actually, pretty good survival on the party. Not your go mode, but pretty... No, not even going to take the XP out of that.
I'm slightly surprised. I think I would want to keep the experience at that spot just because you need a bit more to be ready for Z. You're very strong with your Cecil, but you still need to get your Rosa at very least up to around 2,000 hit points, and that so yeah, every experience point helps. But no, it looks like it's...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, continue.
I was going to say, by the way, there's a character here. It's been here this whole time. You were saying?
Oh, I was just going to say, now it's just a question of do you go top down, bottom up? Oh, we've got our duplicate Tella here.
Lovely.
French vanilla old man on the moon.
I don't know, with that palette looking pretty young. That's a whippersnapper right there.
What's the Lunarian version of Grecian formula?
I don't know what the Earth version of Grecian formula is.
Hair dye.
Ah, okay.
It looks like we're heading for a top down as he's heading for the I always get confused. Murasame altar.
Mm-hmm.
While JBrun is head back above ground, going to get those pan checks in. Going to be very disappointed.
Not getting the pan checks in doesn't have it. That was a reward from doing Cave Magnus, which he has still not done.
Right, he just did Sheila 1, didn't do Sheila 2.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing important coming out of any of that, so it's fine. But that's just going to be another loop that he goes through if he does get the pan and isn't in go mode.
Yeah, unfortunately, this chain just giving you an Excalibur and a defense sword, which, unfortunately, compared to your crystal sword, doesn't really add up.
And no, is going and doing Cave Magnus right now, so we'll get that pan, we'll bounce back down and all of that. In part, this is from avoiding or Dwarf Castle, rather, which had the Earth Crystal.
True. John is through with that free fight there on the Murasame altar, grabs the Silent Staff, so not what we're looking for. On the plus side for JBrunTR, his fight down here is going to be a lot easier than John's was when John came down here quite early. So we'll get a little bit of time back from that, comparatively speaking, but still.
He's had very large, very, very large expenses of time.
Yes, unfortunately. And of course, since it's been quite a while since we've heard our dear Edward play some music. I think we're going to give it over to him and let him play some Final Fantasy V, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Of course, Dark Elf has to go do the pre-show and all of this, do the opening act.
It's very important to warm up. You wouldn't want to get strain your fingers.
Yeah. But we've booed him off the stage, so Edward, take it away.
Very quick work of Odin there, and that is Cave Madness done and dusted for JBrun. Meanwhile, we had original flavor Mylon over here in the Rip Room. We'll see what 2 items await John.
Well, they're both key items, except they're both zonks.
Well, we do have an Edward waiting for us in Mercedes.
They're both really zonks, Twisted Flax. They're both zonks.
My mistake. So we'll go over here to the White Sphere altar, see if this has any more joy for us.
They're both zonks. And actually having the Avenger Sword on, yeah, John's going to reset to not have an auto-zerked Cecil going into a Golbez fight.
Yeah, that's going to be more of a major loss of time since this swings. He's going to swing 10, 15 times before anything happens at a fight, just because of how fast he is there. Meanwhile, JBrun is going to take a shot at the Ogo fight down here. Now that he's got a bit more power than the last time, I think it won't be an issue. We'll get that pass.
While this is going, I do want to take a moment to give a quick shout out to Plumeria Knight, who has been tracking all of these objectives and all of these key items, and Lady Starscream, who is responsible for the restream and for rolling this. So thank you to both of you for taking care of things behind the scenes, and to John and JBrun for being willing to be restreamed on this Adamant Cup match. And of course to Twisted Flax for joining me in the booth this Saturday evening.
And also to Hupfin for being a great co-commentator.
Well, I'm just vibing, you know.
JBrun having no problem with the nope rope, gets the pass. Not the key item he wanted, I'm sure, because he's still looking for a few more to complete the seed, but still very nice to have.
They're both Zogs, Flax. They're both Zogs.
Well, we're over 4 here, so we got 2 more spots to check. So it's either going to be down here at the Vanilla Ogo spot or up there at the Crystal Sword altar. And JBrun, having got that pan from the Cave Magnus, is making the absolutely logical shot of coming back down here and turning that in. Meanwhile, we have a very large, very free fight over here with John.
Yep, 3 Dark Imps versus 1 Hourglass. The Hourglass wins.
The Adamant Armor Crystal Sword wins, I think, as well. Oh, we got some coffins to spend. Let's go ahead and spend them. And I was going to use those to get a life glitch out here, get some extra experience. I mean, at this point, you want as long as your Rosa is able to take on a Big Bang, which even with the Adamant armor might be doable at this point. That's really all you need to take care of Zromos at this point with all the other equipment you have.
There's the rat tail. There's the wild card in the plan, because that could be a Sand Ruby, or it could be a Zonk.
That is an interesting little dilemma. I still think you can save here and save Scummit, or you can just go ahead and say, "I'm here. Let's just clear out the last spot." And if it's the wrong choice, it's the wrong choice.
Yeah, I think in John's situation, you've got one thing left. Just do the one thing. If that was your first pull in the subterrane, it'd be a lot harder of a question.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think the fact that this is your last fight available here, go ahead, clean it up so you don't have to worry about it. And if you got to go back down and trade in the rat tail in order to get that Sand Ruby, well, there you go. You have such power overwhelming at this point that it's not going to cost you too much. Meanwhile, JBrun is going to be raising his whale. We'll see what kind of path he takes through the moon. And we'll see what bosses we have left here. It's just an elements.
Yeah, nothing too terrible here. There is nothing too terrible left. Oh look, it's Leg. Goodbye, Leg.
Much quicker than the first time we saw Leg today.
Yeah. Normally with the Elements fight, the Rubicante phase, that can be what trips up parties. And so you do strategies to avoid it. And not this party. You're just going to swing. You're just going to swing harder.
Yeah, it's a pretty quick fight in this spot usually. It's not as durable as other moon spots. And the reward we get is...
the rat tail is your path.
There you go. So, even though we don't have it necessarily in our pocket, we do have go mode now. We know the path we have to take in order to finish this seed.
Yep. Unfortunately for JBrun, having still not gone and done Dwarf Castle, he would not have the information that there's only going to be the one opportunity here. Right. For the Sand Ruby. So I fully expect a full clear from him as well, and that's all he's going to get out of it.
That is unfortunate because he's looking for 2 more items, not just the one that John was. So you won't even be tempted to try to maybe do a quick turn in on the rat tail. But on John's side, we do see that he is going to come back down to Earth via the Giant. Go ahead and clear out the 2 boss spots here, get that first objective done and dusted, and move on and get to the seed over with. JBrun having a bit more of a tough time with the evil wall. We do see that, first off, he doesn't have the benefit of the Rosa that John had, since the Rosa was behind the dwarf castle. And secondly, he doesn't have that adamant armor, unfortunately, either, which was also in that chain.
Oh, joy! Guess where the alt gauntlet is?
Ooh, well, you won't have to worry about experience at this point.
Yeah, did you want to do a D-Machine grind? Are you sure? Are you sure you didn't want to? You get that opportunity to do it. You can do a D-Machine grind. It's right here. The fight will be there. D-Machine.
Wow, yeah, I mean, this not going to be too much an issue. You've got the ways to get around some of these more nasty fights. But it's going to give you a ton of experience. So that's if you had any worries about being Z ready by the time this giant was over, you don't have to worry about it now. Speaking of experience, we see that JBrun is going to say, you know what, I want to get some more experience on my team, so let's go ahead and do a behemoth fight here. You got a few of them that you can trigger in the Bahamut Cave, so we decided to go ahead and take one up. Unfortunately, finding that those reaction swings after your own physical attacks, they target Cecil, he's still taking a decent amount of damage, despite the fact that he does have that crystal armor. He is in the back row.
No, so Chad is pointing out that the classic D-Machine grind fight actually shows up at the CPU slot, not at this one, because of the 5 fights that we take for each location and where in the encounter pool. That fight just doesn't show up here. This is the area of the giant that you would be doing that grind in most setups, I believe. Or is it the floor below that? Either way.
You can find it in either floor. It's in different spots
that's what I
on
thought.
The encounter table. So I'm kind of surprised it isn't on here. I don't know the all gauntlet charts by hand or by memory. So I'm kind of surprised it didn't count, that the poll did not take from that portion of the encounter chart.
Yeah, I mean we get the solo, but not the classic grind fight. I believe it takes 5 from like the middle of the table. And the grind fight on this floor is the rarest, I want to say.
It's not the rarest, but it is one of the rare encounters.
Okay,
I think
maybe like second rarest.
It's I think the 6th spot out of 8, so yes. Meanwhile, JBrun's going to take another behemoth fight, looks like. These fights are a good source of experience. The only thing you gotta worry about is those counter punches. But if you can have a way to survive them, you can blink or a lot of defense, you can definitely get some good experience this way. Meanwhile, we have a mini Mac Giant grind on John's side. And JBrun is at the evil wall fight again, doing a little more manipulation, try to get his party ready for what could be a pretty tough fight here without the extra equipment that John had at this point.
Yeah. I know Dwarf Castle is one of those locations. There are a handful just throughout the game that various runners are like, I will just avoid that location. I will avoid that fight as much as humanly possible. The Harp being a common favorite of that category. The Seed doesn't care if you want to fade a spot or not. It will decide if it's required. And in this case, Dwarf Castle, very required. So if JBrun is the type that's like, I don't want to do Dwarf Castle if I can avoid it at all, that's the if. And this seed fell on the other side of it.
And sometimes that's just how seed goes. Sometimes you fade a location and your opponent doesn't, and it takes them down a wild goose chase to nothing. Sometimes it's the other way around. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you find Velvels at CPU.
Yeah, that is a thing that can happen. Fortunately, you can hit it with a stick, so you got that going.
So I do believe this is one of the better spots to find Val, because I don't think that Val gets much of anything in the way of defense here when she's spinning.
Yeah, I'm not sure about. We have a chart for that.
You get. Yeah, I just looked this up. It does get a bit of extra defense, but there are spots where it is worse. And as you see, John has no problem getting right through it. So that is the giant taken care of. We're going to get another character check here.
Oh, there's Fu.
I mean, you have a curse ring, so that could be a replacement for your Tello if you want to.
JBrun has decided to replace his Tella with a slightly older Telda.
And John says no to the Fu. At this point, given the fact that I think that the most that Fu would be doing would be providing an anchor, I think one anchor is as good as another.
Yeah, at this point. I mean, there are some that are canonically better than others, but yep, Crystal Sword, Cecil, whatever. An anchor's an anchor.
And now it's just a matter of going back to the cave, turning in that rat tail for that sand ruby. There it is. John's got that pass as well, so I have to imagine we're going to be seeing a Z fight very shortly. As John completes the objectives, just want to mention that the Adamant Cup continues tomorrow. We've got 4 races scheduled for restream. We've got Commander Leonhard versus Dusty Griff starting at 12 o'clock Eastern. That's going to be on Free Enterprise. Also on Free Enterprise at 5 p.m. Eastern, we got Gale Swift versus Stone Dingley. Coming right after at 6 o'clock on our Free Enterprise 2 channel, where we're doing Klopfer versus X Pancras. And then finally, at our evening match will be 9 o'clock. Martin Brockloak versus Zilch. That'll be here at Free Enterprise as well.
Yep, again, all those times are Eastern time.
Eastern Daylight Time. If it's
Daylight time, yep. We are all going to be double and triple checking our hours tomorrow, so it's that day, and it's that time in the seed to pontificate on the posterior.
That's right. We are going to see what wonderful random appearance Zeros will be taking on tonight. Fortunately, we have to first off find a place to park.
Get your steps in. It's fine. But yes, I don't even know the number anymore. It's been so long since I've commentated and so long since I've been given an actual count. Large number of costumes for Zeromus. Some of them are cute. Some of them are terrifying. Some of them are familiar. Most of them have a butt. Whatever it is, we shall kick it.
Absolutely right. And as we see, we had John take off the adamant armor from Rose and give it to Cecil, giving that a little extra protection. almost put the heroine robe on, which would have been a very unfortunate mistake since the heroine robe takes down your magic power, and I think you want Rosa to be slinging heals more than anything else in this fight, so it's a good thing that he caught that. But yes, we have a very important question. Would you like to take the honors?
Whose butt are we kicking tonight? I don't know why I read it like that, but I did it, and I committed.
It's very iambic pentameter there.
Wait, is that iambic pentameter? Hold on.
It'll be quadrameter, I guess. We only need 4.
Yeah, we need 2 more syllables. Then we could really have a Shakespearean butt.
Comes that crystal, and we shall soon see, indeed, whose butt. Nightmas.
I do not recognize the butt.
Yeah, I certainly. That is a thing. If anyone.
It is Nightmare. It is Kirby Nightmare.
Thank you very much for enlightening us about the identity of this butt.
Yeah, the Kirby games actually have quite a lot of villains and quite a lot of visually interesting ones. Some of which are terrifying, especially for how cute the rest of the game is. This is a nice, I would say, standard villainous butt.
We see, thanks to that Silk Web being thrown out, that first Big Bang was successfully nerfed. First one is always a bit of a freebie, since as long as you throw a spell out that causes a counter nuke, it will get nerfed. And you see that Crystal Sword Cecil just throwing out 6,000, 7,000 damage to the swing. Don't have to do anything else. You can just sit there and just almost put the controller down.
Yeah, this is what we call power couple strats. Rosa keeps Cecil alive. Cecil does all the work. And with high enough levels, it's very hands off.
And you do have JBrunTR down there on and the Vanilla Ogo spot did find the DMs here, and we'll be getting the Rat Tail, which, as we now know, is required for getting the Sand Ruby. Very nice Toad cast as well, as well from JBrunTR, knowing the what bosses have the boss bit, what bosses don't have the boss bit, and this one certainly does not. However, on John's side, we do see those rocks coming down.
And that's Nightmare down. And that is a GG for JohnBirckhead, taking this race with a time of 1:51.42. GG's to John.
Absolutely. Really well
Still
done.
not-
Really solid race from start to finish, and I think a very strong showing, giving him a second win in this Artemis Bow group. We'll see if he wants to come in for an interview.
Meanwhile, as JBrun threw those Dark Imps nice and clean. Getting that XP on Rydia and Palom. And Cecil, but like he's already powerful enough, thank you very much.
Except that Rat Tail, which we know is required. But yes, a very good source of experience here. You could also life glitch these guys. I did not notice if JBrun did do that, but if not, you still get a ton of experience.
I think he got one in. But I'm not positive.
that is the lowest part of the moon taken care of. JBrun still has the Crystal Sword Alternate. I believe he went bottom up, so he'll also be doing the Murasame Ultra on the way out. Oh yes, JBrun will still have to do the Dwarf Castle in order to get the Tower of Zot, the Earth Crystal for the Tower of Zot, which will give him his pink tail. But other than that, he will have the Sand Ruby soon enough. He will be able to do the Giant of Babel. So he also pretty close to being done. Now that he's got the hardest parts of the seed out of the way.
Yes. Hello, John.
Sorry
GG.
about
Oh,
GG.
no worries. So, yeah, GG on that run. Just pretty much a 17 out of 17, resetting out of the Legend Sword. But beyond that, pretty much a full clear. How'd you feel about your path through it?
I felt, there's some very silly mistakes in there, for sure. I cringed pretty hard when I forgot to put the Crystal Sword on before the Ashura fight, and then I cringed even more when I realized I probably should have just reset out and would have saved myself a minute and a half, and that stayed with me for a while. I didn't know that apparently switching to the Avenger and then covering, as I did in the Odin spot, would cause me not to attack at all. It was a very educational,
Yeah.
a very educational seed. But no, I was pretty happy with what I did with the early game. Because you get the Sylph summon and you get the Leviathan summon, and it's tempting just to go ahead and have Rydia do that. But agility can just be so incredibly important. So I made the decision to go ahead and just hair on rope her and try to make her as fast as possible. I'm also not very big on the moon checks with this flag set, which is I tried to go ahead and get as much done on the blue planet and underground as possible. So I do better when seeds are more linear, and the fact that the seed was extremely linear worked to my advantage. So I was very grateful for that.
I think you executed very, very well. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was your party composition, because you stuck with Rydia and Palom for quite some time, even turning down a Kane, I believe, or trading out for a Kane for the Cecil. What was your plan in terms of party composition as the seed went on?
I think at that point, I mean, after a while, I just assumed I'm going to be soloing with Cecil, right? I mean, Crystal Sword, Crystal Armor, Avenger, Zeus Gauntlet, Cells. I mean, it writes itself. So in terms of melee damage, I wasn't going to need anything more than that. And I thought I could get more utility out of Rydia and Palom early on with Quakes and Leviathans and things like that as needed. And then as the seed continued to go on, I would just go ahead and solo with him. I figured I would find I'd find Rosa at some point, and that would be my my white mage. And then putting the adamant on her kept her safe, so that she could go ahead and heal and blink and life up as needed. So basically, it was a power couple seed, and quite frankly, the other characters were irrelevant after a while.
Well, that's certainly true. Once you found that Crystal Sword in Evelyn Castle, it sort of made your choices in terms of party members very straightforward.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is there any other parts of the seed that struck you as potentially difficult?
I got my own way, for sure. It's just little things. Whenever I'm on Restream or with these races, my nerves go through the roof, not checking the top of tower. Just silly things like that. Some menuing and, there's just little things along the way that I can go ahead and tighten up. And, I was lucky to go ahead and get through this and come out on top. But, with how stacked everyone is, JBrun had just an amazing run this afternoon, and took down Mecha, who, if you ever see Mecha in chat, that his encyclopedic knowledge of the game is ridiculous. Plumeria, I know that you're on there. I've been watching you. I'm terrified of you. Blue Cat's a monster. So the seed itself, I think, was extremely generous. An early Cecil, a guaranteed adamant armor, an Avenger, and a Crystal Sword right next to each other, and tons of loot in Eblin. The seed itself is generous. I got to go back and try to find the things I can do to go ahead and kind of make myself a little more efficient. But in terms of, aside from the massive blunders, Crystal Sword Cecil, it's not too hard to have too much of a strategy with a seed like this.
No, absolutely. Having that power overwhelming your back pocket certainly can make some of your other mistakes, sort of forgive you in that respect. So with your win tonight, that takes you to 2-0 in your group. How you feeling about how the tournament's going so far?
I'm loving the excitement in general. While we're talking about this, I want to thank you and Leggy, Plumeria, and Twisted Flax, and just being on Restream team, but not terribly active with it, and just seeing the work and the organization, and the acumen. Just really smart, dedicated people that are generous with their time and their talents. And I'm very nervous about the rest of my races with my group. But in terms of the tournament itself, I'm just excited. I mean, you can feel it. There's like 8-9 races a day because the team has been so incredibly generous with the way that they've set this all up, and we've got chats and there's buzz and there's excitement, and it's a great time of year, man. Like this is awesome. So I'm having a lot of fun. I have Blue Cat on Wednesday. That might be less fun for me and more fun for him. And Plumeria, I've been avoiding scheduling with you because I've wanted more time to practice. But I guess technically at some point I gotta face the music on that one. But I'm just incredibly grateful to this community, and the tournament's fun. It's just good people. I get to be 38 years old and playing video games with my internet friends. Like, what's better than that?
That was great, and don't sell yourself too short. You just said you've taken down 2 very strong runners so far, so things have been going quite well for you, and I'm very happy to see how strong you've played, and I look forward to seeing you in the future.
Appreciate it.
Hupfin, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm afraid not.
Okay.
Well, thanks again for being restreamed and giving us an amazing race, and good luck with the rest of the tournament.
Yeah,
Thank
GG.
you so much. GG, you guys have a good night.
All right, so
yes.
Yeah, so while we were talking with John, JBrun did decide to forfeit on the run. Totally fair, always your prerogative. So, yeah, it does put him at 1-2 in the group, but still room to come back. As we mentioned at the top, this is a 7-person group, so pretty competitive. But you can fight back.
Absolutely. The format is that the top 3 in every group still get to potentially move on into the final stages. Top player obviously moves on directly, but 2 and 3 play in a playoff to try to get into those stages. So we'll see if JBrun wants to join us for a interview or not. In the meantime, once again, I want to thank Lakey, and I want to thank Plumeria for doing all the work behind the scenes. They did a great job. And I'm going to want to thank Hupfin for sitting here and chewing the fat with me for a couple hours.
Yeah, always a pleasure. JBrun has indicated that he'll be staying away from the mic tonight. So with that, I do believe we are set to wrap up.
Been a pleasure. Again, just want to mention that our next race will take place, I believe it was at noon tomorrow Eastern here at Free Enterprise. That'll be Commander Leonhardt versus Dr. Griffin. We'll have another great day of racing ready for you. Hope you're going to enjoy it as much as I enjoy it.
Yep, from everyone here at Free Enterprise, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for hanging out with us, and we'll see you again